Business is brought to you by Audible.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Married with a Business. I'm Craig.
And I'm Allison.
And we're Married with a Business. We're here to share tips, tricks, stories of what it's like to be a married couple that own and operate a business together, and our life partners and raising children and all the craziness that goes with that, Allison.
Yes, and we've had some craziness.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
It's been a summer.
It's been a summer. We are kind of coming to an end of an era, if you will. A little sad. So I've coached my last Little League game that I'll ever coach with our youngest son, who he's now done with Little League. He moves on to the bigger diamonds and the bigger baseball. And
how is that possible? They're babies.
We're old. We're getting older. So, it was a little, I have to admit, it was a little emotional for me.
It was emotional for me. I really wanted to cry when I was out with the coaches, and more so because the coaches we've been with for the last 8 years than anything else, because I'm definitely the baseball mom.
Yeah, I've coached now Little League from T-ball level all the way through where we're at, and I've been the summer ball coach because and I think that it's tough. It's tough moving on from it. It's a little sad. I had a phone call today from a buddy of mine who was giving me like a little wellness check. I sent him a picture last night of the back of my truck completely emptied with no baseball, because my summers, the back of my truck's been filled with baseball gear all summer, but now it's empty.
And I feel like next summer we're like, we'll have nothing to do, but we are going to fill that time fairly quickly, I imagine.
Yeah, we probably
I can't wait. There's so many things I want to do.
Yeah, there's so many things we can do. And talking about doing things, that's kind of what we're going to talk about this week on the show is we're calling it the Disney disconnect.
Oh my God, we went to Disney.
Because we went to Disney. But exactly that. And I think we talked about it on a previous episode about how we were planning it, but it's talking about disconnecting and getting that white space to kind of take a short-term break away from reality, not just work reality, but also like life reality and all that. Just being able to kind of to break away.
Yeah, and some of the things we've talked about in the past about getting ready to go on our beach vacation were the reason we were able to do it and not check our email and not log in. We didn't even bring a laptop this time. I know when we go to the beach for 2 weeks, we bring a laptop. This was a huge step forward, I think, in the managing of our business.
Yeah, so we've taken long breaks before away from the business, and we've put our company in a position to operate pretty functionally without us. We're not as much of the cog of the wheel as a lot of business owners are.
Right, but we still check our emails. Wednesday mornings, I still log in and I pay bills, those kind of things. This was completely we were in a foreign country disconnected.
Well, I mean, as much as, a foreign country, Central Florida can be. But yeah, so we planned this trip. We went to Disney. We took our kids. And it's true, because you're there and you're in the parks and you're in, you're riding rides that you're trying, and it's us. So there was a schedule to keep and places we had to go and all of that stuff.
Thank goodness you did that. You and one of our friends planned all of it. I completely emotionally shut down every time you talked about it.
Well, and that, on a side note, if you're ever going to Disney, it's kind of planning it is a job within itself.
It's like creating a whole business plan.
We had to have times that we were riding rides with the fast passes and the lightning lanes. And so we had to know where we had to be. But because of all of that, because when we were there and we had places to be and we wanted to be connected with our kids, we completely disconnected from work.
Right. But you did the work to be able to disconnect. So I think that's the important thing and why I want to talk about it. It's important for business owners to be able to disconnect to help their personal well-being and, our long-term success of the company too. These are opportunities for us to see where we have holes in our systems. Hopefully the holes don't have to be dealt with while you're away, but the mental clarity we can get as well from being away. I know it seems impossible. And for years and years and years, my dad said it was impossible. And then we thought it was impossible. And when we do our beach vacation, I'm still tuned in. So it was kind of crazy not to be checking in.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that makes it tough in today's world is because we are so easily connected between phones and iPads and computers and laptops, and everywhere has Wi-Fi. You can't, you're electronically connected to the world all the time,
No matter where you are.
and even in the Disney experience, you have to use your phone to get on rides or to schedule the next ride. So it's kind of hard to not be on your device and look at your email.
Right.
I think that's the biggest challenge that I had on this, is that I was the one that was using my device to set up whatever the next lightning lane was, or order the food, because you order the food on the app now in Disney, and I was the one doing that. So it's very hard, when you open your phone, to just not go right to your email.
The habit of where you click when you touch your phone and your device. And when I was younger, my dad was running the business. We had a little boat, and he could just go out on the boat, and there was no way for anybody to reach him. You physically could not reach him. There was no cell phones. There was none of that. So once he left the dock, that was it. He was in white space. And we have to now, in this day and age, build that white space ourselves.
Yeah, I think that we have to build that balance between being intentionally connected and disconnected when we're taking those vacations. I mean, we're getting ready to do our annual beach vacation, and we go into this vacation every year knowing that we are going to have to connect at points during the time that we're there.
Because we say we are going to.
Well, and yeah.
It's right. We haven't gotten over that emotional baggage yet. But I'm acutely aware now that the boys' childhoods are slipping away. Our niece is going off to college. The boys are going to be at the high school. It's just, we have to have that balance to build these memories. It's slipping away so fast.
Well, and it's funny talking about the Disney thing, and there were multiple times, and so you go to Disney, and it's I know there's Disney adults, and that's another conversation for another day, but it's mostly families, right? It's mostly mom and dad and 2 or 4 kids or whatever it might be that are there walking through Disney. And the amount of times I saw the moms and dads looking at their phones and not being connected with their kid, looking at whatever amazing thing that the kid is being shocked by. And I think that's the hardest thing in today's society that worries me, is I don't want our kids looking back on their childhood going, oh yeah, I remember going to Disney and dad stared at his phone the whole time checking his work email, or he was on a call 90% of the time. I remember going away to the beach, and we were down at the beach playing, and mom was up, doing invoicing on her laptop the whole time while we were down the beach. So I think you have to intentionally disconnect, not just to help prevent burnout and all of those other things, but also to help your family.
Yeah, and I think we are in a place right now where the disconnect is helping, especially the burnout. I think we've talked about this with our mastermind groups, the going hard for 20 years has caught up to us.
Yeah.
I have constantly had a new goal, a new target, a new project while raising 2 kids and doing all of the baseball and all of the scouts. And so I think mid-40s, that pressure has come in from both sides of kids and work and parents. And I have to be more intentional about disconnecting, because the physical and mental exhaustion of running the business, and it's just incredibly demanding. And it leads to physical fatigue and emotional exhaustion and mental health issues like anxiety, irritability, difficulty concentrating. You can't be happy even when things are going well. And then that just manifests as a lack of interest. And I have definitely seen that. In some instances, I just don't care. So trying to be intentional about taking a break so that I'm not cynical and I don't have impaired judgment, and the quality of what I'm doing isn't going down.
Yeah, and you have to worry about the long-term health risks as well. I mean, if you're constantly worked up, if you're constantly stressed, you're going to have those heart problems, those stress-related consequences down the road of heart disease or stroke or whatever it might be, insomnia. You need to be able to step back from everything and let your blood pressure drop, if you will. And I think that it's one of those things too, where, like you said, we have been in our company now for over 20 years, both of us. You've 25 years, and so part of it is that we've thrown our shoulder into the business for the vast majority of those years, and we took the business and we grew it tenfold, and we had kids along the way, and so now, there is a point where you have to be a little bit more intentional about not letting yourself stay hooked in all the time.
And I think that when you disconnect and you take a step back, and it's not just about going on vacation, it's not just about, this is why professors take sabbaticals, right? Because they become so exhausted, they're no longer creative. It's about giving your mind that white space to be more creative. And disconnecting can be short, can be a day. It doesn't have to be a trip. It doesn't have to be a 4-month sabbatical either. Just trying to step away from that day to day and give a new perspective on the business and provide some mental space for reflection. And it's like the shower syndrome, right? When you're in the shower, you're not doing other things and your brain is free to think, and you think of all new ideas and remember things that got pushed to the back.
Yeah, you improve decision making as you go through it, right? That's what they say about showers, right? You take a shower, you're relaxed, you're calm, your brain calms down, and you have a fresh perspective. You start to think about things in a different way, and it allows you to come up with either new ideas or better ideas, and takes that fatigue away from the constantly always trying to think of something, right?
Right. When we leave the beach, I'm ready to go back and I'm ready to tackle things until I get there, though.
Well, and it's funny, like we talked about this today as we prepare to go away again. I guess it sounds terrible that we keep going away. We keep talking about going away, but I guess that's what this
Disney
is
was
about.
months ago, guys.
Yeah, Disney was months ago.
We're just catching up.
Months and months and months ago. But anyway, we talked about how like there are moments while we're away that we feel like the stress is that we'll sit on the deck and we'll talk about, hey, here's this decision we have to make or we have coming up or something we need to talk about from the business. And it's okay, like especially in a couple like you and I, we work together, we run a business together, we live together. It's sometimes it's okay to have a healthy place where we're both calm and can have constructive conversations.
Right. And rest just allows us to recharge the physical and mental batteries. I was reading in the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis. They did an article that was posted in there in 2023. There was a study done about breaks and productivity, and how the study compared the productivity of undergraduate students on simulated check processing tasks, and some of the kids had to have breaks and some of the kids didn't have to have breaks, where they were programmed into the schedule. And the results showed that 75% of the participants completed more of the checks and were more productive when they had programmed scheduled breaks compared to the ones that didn't have the breaks. And it's interesting because those people continued to, even after the scheduled breaks, build in breaks in the way the study was monitoring what they were doing. And
not to throw shade at college students by all means, but they only go to classes 3 or 4 hours a day. Like we're all working 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day. Like, I think that understanding the need to have breaks away from what you're doing is important. And I don't think, we looked it up, there's really no great studies for business owners.
Right. One of the things I was trying to research and find out more information about and read a study about business owners is that there aren't a lot of them, but they can take the data from these other studies and, because of the complexity, compare them to what works and wouldn't work for how business owners process things. Unlike the controlled tasks, business owners' productivity is so multifaceted that encompasses a lot of strategic thinking and networking and sales and problem solving. It's harder to isolate the impact of breaks on how we operate.
So let's talk a little bit, Allison, about when we disconnect. Like what are some good parts from a business standpoint and for our team? What are some things that kind of helps strengthen our team when we disconnect?
I think when we prioritize our own well-being in taking breaks and we're setting a positive example, right? We are a company and a team where we really try to foster that the culture of taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other. We talk a lot like we're all families. If your kid's sick, I get it. You got to go pick them up. Something doesn't happen all the time, but we have to be flexible enough to let them do what they need to do, so long as everything is continuing to get done. If your kid's sick every day, we need to have a conversation. But I don't want to have a team where they feel like they can't take care of themselves or their families either.
Yeah, there are sometimes where we have to, not say force people, but encourage people to start taking days off and taking a break for themselves. Our office manager is a prime example of that. She's been talking about it for weeks,
Go to the beach. Go to the beach.
I said, go to the beach. Take a day and go to the beach. So you have to do that. It also helps develop those delegation skills, Allison, between not just from us as business owners being able to delegate some of the things, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, talk about, delegating things off of us, but it also kind of helps the team work together to delegate tasks when we're not there.
And cross-train. And so, they can delegate, they can cross-train, and that helps if something happens down the road that one person isn't the end-all, be-all of what they're doing. Other people can help fill in because stuff happens.
Yeah, I feel like every time we go away, even if it's just for a day or two for a conference or whatever it might be, we tend to come back and we identify some gaps in our systems when we do this. Like, in every time something new happens and we go, oh, well, we didn't even think about that when we were developing the system. So let's change the system. Let's go into the SOP and change it and make it work better, because that may happen again when we're away.
Right. And I want people to work really hard while they're at work, but also rest and recover when they aren't at work. And if you feel like you can never leave, you're never going to leave.
Yeah. And so,
not that we want you to leave.
No, but that helps build that company. It makes your company culture more healthy. It helps them understand that it's good. We encourage them to prioritize themselves. We want them to be a part of our team. We want them to be fresh when they're working for us. And if they need to take a day to go to the beach, take a day and go to the beach.
As long as you have everything organized.
As long as you have everything organized. Allison, what are some things that people can do to prepare to disconnect?
So some of the things that we do, and we have like a checklist of preparing to be out of the office, and everybody gets it. One of our assistants who drives around in the truck literally got it today because he's going to be away. If you're going to disconnect for any period of time, I feel like you need to schedule it and communicate it to the team in advance. This helps them understand that you are having white space, disconnected space, and that they won't necessarily be reaching out to you for not that anything's silly, but for things that they could find another way to answer.
Well, and every week in our team meeting, we have a team stand-up meeting every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. where everybody's at, and we talk about things we have to get done this week and team things. But every week at that meeting, we talk about who's vacation and when it's coming up. Even if somebody's given us dates that are, 2 months from now.
Yeah, we have people going to be 3 people who are going to be at conferences in September, and we've already started talking about, hey, they're going to be gone in September for these dates. Let's start talking and planning ahead.
Right. So we're constantly making sure that people understand that that's coming up. We're communicating that to the team that, hey, we're going to be away. This person's going to be away. Mark, our manager, is going to be away, whatever it might be. So we're always, and we do that, and we meet with our team too.
We meet with the team. We say, hey, what questions do you have? I started that process 2 weeks ago. Start jotting down questions and things that you're going to have for me. So we meet with them, we go over it, and try and answer as many questions as we can before we go.
We talk about a lot of what if scenarios too, Allison.
Yeah. What if there's a car accident? What if this happens? Things, especially things that have come up in the past while we've been gone, which have strengthened the systems. Like, if this happens, this is where you go. If this happens, this is where you go.
And this is where it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. You're not going to hit every what if situation. You're not going to, there's no way. Something is going to happen when you're away, when you're disconnected, that has never happened before. Do your best.
They're always coming up with new ways to be crazy.
Yeah, but you got to do your best to prepare your team and make your team confident in the fact that they'll be able to handle it while you're away.
Right. And then we kind of go through the do, delegate, delete, or reschedule motto of like, what's coming up on my list? Can somebody else do it? Can I push it off till I get back? Can I do it before I leave? Or can I just delete it? Is it really important to deal with while I'm disconnecting?
Yeah, I can remember, this was, everything I say feels like it was 5 years ago. This was probably like 15 years ago. Like one of the first times that you and I went away for a week and we were trying to be intentional about disconnecting, and we had our first like office manager, an admin person. And like, I felt like every phone call that they got, we were getting an email. So-and-so called and asked this question, or so-and-so called and wants to know, about this. And we had to come back and be better about delegating out those, saying, hey, you need to make a decision. You need to ask this person about this question. You need to tell this person, hey, they're away and they're not going to get back to you next week, and understand what's an emergency and what's not an emergency. So I think making sure that they understand the do, delegate, and delete kind of thing is really important. And communicating all of this with your team is super important.
And then empowering and trusting the team. I said to them today, I said, you've all been with us long enough. You have all of the resources to answer almost any question. Again, our director of production has been with us over 30 years, longer than I have. He should be able to deal with anything that comes up. But that I trust them to know the Almar way and to make the best decision they can with the information that they have. And is it necessarily going to be what we say? Maybe not. But I feel like they've gotten there, and we've done the work up front. You can't just abdicate and walk away, right? As owners, we have to do the work up front.
But I think, Allison, one of the things that is kind of most important about this idea of the Disney, as we say, the Disney disconnect, or whatever it might be, whatever vacation you want to take, we could have called it the Dollywood disconnect. I mean, that's an amusement park.
I know, I haven't been to Dollywood though.
I know we've never been to Dollywood, but anyway, anything you want to do, like you need, as a business owner and as a family, you need to be intentional about disconnecting, and you need to understand the importance of it, and you need to allow yourself to do it. And I think that's the hardest thing in today's culture that I see, is that allowing yourself to disconnect. And if you feel like you need to check your email, or you need to do something, then it's fine. But set aside time to do that. I'll give you an example. I have a very good friend. I'm going away on a golf trip here in a couple of weeks, and we both are business owners. We both have a lot that we have to deal with and go on, and we have made a pact with each other that we're going to go on a 3-day golf trip, and we're going to play a round of golf, at least one of the rounds of golf, where we're going to put our phones in our golf bags and we're not looking at them the whole round. We should do it for all 3 rounds, but
I think that's great. But again, if you feel like you're going to be gone during work time, that things need to be addressed, you can build that into your schedule. Before you guys leave for the golf course, you could check all of your emails and make sure that your away message is off, and just set the expectations that I'm going to be unreachable. I started doing that with my email signature, just putting in the fact that I will not have internet. I will respond to you when I get back. I apologize for the inconvenience. And because a lot of people, even though you have an away message and say that you're not there, they now just think that you should still be responding to those emails. So I'm literally just putting in that I'm not going to be checking my email, so that's great that you sent this, but don't expect that I'm going to see it.
Well, I say this all the time. I mean, like, no offense. I mean, we all, like, people are important in the businesses that they own and operate. This isn't rocket surgery, right? Like,
Rocket surgery?
Rocket surgery. This isn't like what we do for a living. You don't need an answer 3 minutes after you send the email. It's just not. And so I feel like if you set the expectations for your coworkers, your clients, your team members, whatever it might be, that, hey, I'll get back to you, and it may not be today, or it may be in 5 hours, or it may be in 3 days, but as long as you're setting that expectation, then if they can't be responsive to that, and if that's not unacceptable for them, then maybe they're not a good client. You should find clients or team members that are a better fit for your life.
Yeah, one of the things we're working on with our project managers is boundary setting, and I think that that's a lot of what it comes down to, and developing those skills. We've talked a lot about how I've utilized the clockwork system over the years to really get us to this point where we're able to do this. And I think baby steps, like I was going to say, Your disconnect could be 9 holes of golf on a Wednesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just turning your phone off and getting out and taking that, however long it takes to play 9 holes of golf, I have no idea, and just stepping away. But if you're on your phone checking your email in between every hole, you're not going to get that emotional and physical well-being.
Yeah.
You're playing the golf, but you're not engaged in the moment of the golf.
Yeah. It's really hard. Like, it's very hard, but it's doable.
Baby steps. Baby steps, guys.
Baby steps. Well, usually, Allison, at this part of the show, we talk about what have we been reading, and then you and I were just
nothing.
You and I were just talking about how we've been bad this summer.
No, we haven't been bad. We have disconnected because our brains can't keep. We needed a little break. I've been listening to podcasts and music, and we've been going for a walk every morning because we needed to spend some time disconnecting and not relaxing, but just kind of recharging.
Yeah, no, we've caught up on almost every episode of Smartless at this point. A lot of Smartless.
Love me some Will Arnett.
It's a good podcast. I mean, I don't think we're anywhere near catching up to them. No, they're the number one podcast, I think, in the world. But anyway, I did want to share a book, though, that you could get on Audible.com because we were talking about Disney and a little bit. A friend of mine had actually shared this book with me that I haven't read yet. It's sitting on my shelf in my office. Be Our Guest by Ted Kinney. It's about perfecting the art of customer service the Disney way. So really interesting, and you can check it out on audible.com. You can get a free 30 days of Audible on us if you go to audibletrial.com/bizmarried. You can download that book. You can download Traction by Gino Wickman. You can download a million other books.
A lot of good beach reads right there.
A lot of good there are some good beach reads. It can be a fiction book. Like, you can just let your mind go and relax. Disconnect and read something that doesn't have to do with business all the time. So check it out, audibletrial.com/bizmarried to get a free 30 days of Audible on us. Also, you can check us out. We're online. You can find us on Instagram at bizmarried with a Z, or you can find us on Facebook. Just search Married with a Business and check out our website, marriedwithabusiness.net. You can go on there, get some ideas of who we are. You can sign up to be a guest on the show if you want. We'd love to have you. We've got some guests coming up sooner than later, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, we'll be talking to some great people.
Yeah, so check us out, marriedwithabusiness.net. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Remember, take some time for yourself, disconnect, and also remember, it's not only important to focus on your business, but also your marriage, because we're Married with a Business.